Season 4, Week 1, Aftermath versus Icers. I am Fralgatron, and both teams are ready to go, so let's just get right into it, as we do have a few games today that need to be cast. After this one, we will have Team Pepega versus IKEA, formerly known as Illusion. They rebranded after preseason, which is completely fine. They just took on a team name, but the roster is still the same. But talking about this game, we saw a little bit from Aftermath in the preseason, but they did end up losing in their preseason match. So going into this, they do have a losing record, but not a huge thing to be concerned about, as most teams, they did pick up a few new players, they have a better understanding of how things are going to work, and this time we do have a map set. So our first map will be Nepal, then after that we will be going to our control maps, and so on and so on. Our map sets for this first week will be Nepal, Eichenwald, the Temple of Anubis, and Route 66, with Lijiang Tower as a tiebreaker if needed. And looking at the teams, it looks like Aftermath's going to be running in a little bit of an unconventional composition for the tank line. We see Roadhog and Zarya, not really a main tank. You're going to be running that main tank Zarya, as I like to call it, using your bubbles more very defensively and really having to pick up a target. Actually, Greg is going to switch over to the Reinhardt, so standard composition coming out from Aftermath, whereas what we see from Icers is they've got yet another fairly standard composition, the Moira Lucio on both sides. The DPS is the main deciding factor going into this match, it looks like. Glider going to be playing on this Reaper, but Aftermath gets a quick move onto that point. Icers decided to take a long route going through that side room instead of dropping down behind the point, and that gave Aftermath a huge hold onto this point already with a quick cap. Running this Ashe on that rotation is going to be huge for Aftermath. But Doomfist going to get the first pick at the fight onto the Reinhardt, and now Lucio jumping into the enemy team. He's going to be able to pull back, but the Ashe going to be assaulted, and now it looks like this point's going to switch over to Icer's favor. Lucio stalling as much as he can, trying to stall for that percentage. Huge moves coming out of Icers, though. Reaper able to take out Sleepy, and that is going to swap this point over to Icer's favor. Aftermath might be trying to rethink their strategy a little bit. It doesn't look like they are going to change anything up. They're coming up to Bob, as well as they're going to come up to a Blizzard fairly quickly. May able to come out with Blizzard super fast is going to be a huge benefit. Coalescence coming out from both sides, but nobody's going to fall. Both these Coalescence being used for heals, but that burn comes out. Huge Shatter going to catch 3 people. Meteor Strike going to come in. Reinhardt frozen. Graviton Surge comes out, is going to catch the Zarya, and many ults used, but that's a massive trade coming in. 2 picks on both sides, and the brawl moving outside. Reinhardt being pulled out. He's going to try and get a pin, but he's going to fail, and Icer's going to maintain control of that point. So many ults used by Icers. I think they ended up using 4 ultimates. They used the Sound Barrier, the Meteor Strike, the Coalescence, the Grav, and the Death Boss, and that was 5 ultimates used, whereas coming out from Aftermath, they only used 2 ultimates, and the Reinhardt's already back up to 50%. So fairly quickly, they're going to charge up these ultimates, and Aftermath's going to have a huge chance to make massive plays here. And a strong pick starts off this fight, with Ashe taking down the Lucio, and Graviton Surge comes in, going to catch both tanks. Mei looking for her chance to get in, to get a freeze off, but is unable to, but Zarya will fall, as well as the rest of Icers falling shortly thereafter. And now, this point will swap back over to Aftermath's possession. And the huge thing in that was they only used 2 ultimates. It looks like they did end up using the Earth Shatter to finish up that push, which I feel like might have been a waste. The Shatter wasn't needed, and you could have saved it for this hold here, since you're at 40 to 85, so you need to hold as long as you can. Shatter comes back out, fairly fast Shatter though, and now Aftermath is going to maintain this hold. Reaper being the last one alive, he's going to be killed, and that was a team killed to hold this point. Pretty close game already for the first map of the season. Aftermath looking fairly strong, and not huge wall onto the Doomfist. He's gonna have to uppercut to get out of there. Shatter comes in, but the speed comes out, and that will help kill Rob. Keeping that Reinhardt alive was the huge point, and a double Bob kill with Ash killing yet another. That's going to force that Graviton Surge to be wasted, and now 86% for Aftermath. Aftermath looking very strong right now, and only 10% left in order to finish this cap. Doomfist going to pop this Meteor Strike, looking to possibly try and get as close to that point as he can. Starting this contest, but it doesn't matter. They're just not able to touch it enough time, and this point will go to Aftermath. Aftermath actually playing a huge game. What Icers tried to do is they tried to use the Doomfist Meteor Strike to get as good of a position as he could, then would uppercut or punch right to that point to start the overtime, and they had the Hammond there. But I think what happened is he got frozen by the Mei, which stopped him with that contest, so only the Hammond had a chance to really contest that, but the Mei wall came up right in front of his face, knocking off his momentum, and he just was not able to touch point fast enough. Small swaps coming out from Aftermath. We're gonna see the Pharah come in as well as the Mercy, and out from Icers we're actually gonna see a Junkrat come in. Junkrat actually could be a huge pick in this, seeing that this point really has a lot of tight areas, and people tend to play fairly grouped up in this map. So Junkrat's really going to capitalize off of that. Pin comes out from Greek, but he's actually going to fall to a Fire Strike, and now Foxy going to start pushing forward, going to get frozen, but it doesn't matter. Icers already has possession of this point. It looks like Aftermath just had a very shaky start. They running the Pharah, which wasn't able to get as much potential out of it. Well, it actually was getting a lot of potential, just nothing was getting killed. The Pharah does already have her ultimate online, so they were getting the value out of the Pharah. It's just they weren't getting the finishing off the kills, and the Junkrat was just farming off of them. Actually, it looks like more of the Doomfist farming off, looking at these ult percentages. Pharah going to pop the Barrage, is going to catch two, but going to be taken out by the Zarya, but it doesn't look like it matters, as the Pharah is going to be resurrected with the Zarya out, and now Aftermath going to flip this point over into their favor with only 31%. Or 37, rather. 1s and 7s look so similar in this game. Mercy, though, with a Valkyrie, as well as Moira having a Coalescence, these are going to be big support ultimates. This Valkyrie, although most people don't see a lot of potential out of it, it can help keep people up in the middle of a team fight, or give you just that extra boost of damage, as because of the branching beams, it acts similar to a supercharger when you pop Valkyrie to damage boost. But there's also the fact that Mercy has infinite flying ability, as well as infinite ammo while in this, so she becomes a huge threat when popping this Valkyrie. Coalescence going to come in from the side of Aftermath. Earthshatter also going to come out, but it looks like the picks are actually going to fall in favor of Icers. Reinhardt getting frozen and will be taken. Actually, he didn't get taken down. He was saved by his supports. Grav coming in, going to catch two. And the Mei will fall as well as the Rhine, and now this point has swapped back over to Icer's favor with 60% in favor of Aftermath, but it's still a fairly uphill fight for Aftermath to come into this, as Icer's quickly going to get to that 50%. Pharah already with another Rocket Barrage. These ultimate uptimes from Kitten are actually pretty decent. It looks like every other fight they're having a barrage. Ooh, but a pick onto Kitten, that's going to take them out of that fight. The Resurrect is forced out, with Sleep being taken out by that as well. And now Aftermath has losing these fights yet again, trying to get the back cap in, but they have no team there to capitalize off of that. And it looks like Ice is going to maintain possession of this point. Icers has ultimates to use. They're gonna have to make their push now, but we see Icers has possession of the point. Aftermath needs to make their push now. Icers, though, does have Bob ready to come out, which could be a huge contest. But the Bob isn't going to be able to get out. The Barrage comes in and will take out Glider. And now Aftermath has possession of this point once again in overtime. Shatter, Graviton, and Barrage used into that fight, but it was used in great capitalization. Getting 5 picks out on that with only one person from Icers being able to escape with their life. And the biggest pick there was they took out Glider with this Bob ready to come out. So they lost that ability to contest with the 7th body. So Aftermath just had that fight won once that person fell. Icers gonna take a smaller route. Bob gonna come in with ultimate, going to take out easy, and now Bob gets 2 kills and 2 massive kills at that, taking out both tanks. And now Icers going to slip this point over back into their favor. Farah dealing another barrage, and Aftermath might be able to make a comeback. 3 picks into their favor. Mercy going to resurrect Faded. And Aftermath staggers coming back in. Doomfist going to pop this Meteor Strike, trying to keep this in. Hammond going to come out from the point, but this is on Aftermath's side. Meteor Strike coming in, but will take out Ultimate. And now Aftermath keeping possession of this point. Hammond coming out from the side of Icers as well. Going to use the spin to win strat. Shatter comes out but is not able to catch the Hammond, and Hammond going to keep this contest going. Lucio's able to get back, and Icers starting to stagger back in as fast as they can. Farah going to be resurrected, keeping that fight alive for them. The stagger's coming out of Icers, but Icers can't risk losing this point. They need to cap this now, as the longer this goes on, the quicker overtime's going to fade away, but a double pick from the Rocket Barrage is going to be a big thing for Aftermath to keep this point in their favor. Coalesce is keeping people alive and dealing just a little bit of damage. Hammond, though, still on the point with Lucio. And Icers not wanting to give up this fight. Glider will fall to the Moira, and a feat drops in favor of Icers. Aftermath doing what they can to keep this fight going for them. And a massive Earth Shatter comes in, will take down the Reinhardt, but it doesn't lead to his death. Instead, Aftermath fires back with 3 picks in their favor with a Resurrected Reaper. Mines going to come out from the side of Icers, but the Hammond will take out their own mines and then plop them down in favor of Aftermath. And this point looks like it's going to quickly tick down, and Aftermath will take Nepal. Strong plays in such a long team fight. Just those staggers coming in from Icers just constantly being there, and the Hammond being a huge just stall potential, just spinning around that point and was just not being picked off. Everybody has seen it so many times. That's why you normally see in those types of situations everyone screaming, target the Hammond, because he is going to stall as long as possible. Now our next map, we will be going to Eichenwald for our map number 2, or a hybrid map of the series. And different from how preseason went, all 4 maps will be played with a 5th tiebreaker if needed, and the way the standings are going to work is it's going to be based on win-loss and the map score. So it's more really it comes down to, even if you lose the match, you may still walk away with a map, which will put you in a much higher standing. So, just gonna have to wait for the ready-ups from both teams, see if there's any subs coming in, or if both teams are ready to go and continue this match. Where is my match chat? But both teams are making great moves, and they're really Aftermath definitely showing what they were capable of from, because we didn't really see too much of them from preseason, but they are really strong teams right now. We do see, though, there are some people on the bench for both Icers and Aftermath, so let's see if there's going to be any substitutions, any people swapping roles. It's going to be, those I think are going to be one of the key things, is if you're going to play your players effectively. Looks like Aftermath is ready to go, so just waiting to find out what Icers wants to do. Now, Icers, they did hold a pretty strong position on that. They did force the second round into overtime, and at 99-99 with a huge team fight. So Icers does have a strong potential to walk away with a map or two in this. It's too soon to tell who's going to walk away with this match. So you have to look at different factors, and Icers tank line is incredibly strong. I think they have a massive presence, but Aftermath, they do have very strong heals is what I'm noticing, as well as that strong tank line, and because it's very hard to kill that tank line from Aftermath, I think that's why they were able to walk away with that map. Icers, though, they do have also a strong DPS player in Glider, so it can really go either way. I'm still just waiting to find out what Icers would like to do. If they're going to be making subs, so sup in the roles, or... And I think both teams are ready. Yep, both teams are ready to go, so let's go into map number 2, Eichenwald. Now, Eichenwald is one of those maps where you see some different things being done. What you tend to see is sometimes you'll see, like, Pharah is used quite a bit on Eichenwald. You got this massive... Just Sky. You just have so much Sky here that Pharah basically has pick of the litter. She can do anything she really wants with very little high ground for contesting a Pharah. But some things that we've also seen recently in the current shift is Echo has been played quite a bit. Echo has the same mobility as Pharah, so able to get around the map, and not only that, but her ultimate is such a huge benefit for the team that she's on, able to copy an enemy's character, and with those massive ult charge, Echo can just do a lot. Such as you can get like 2 Earth Shatters out if you copy a Reinhardt, and Reinhardt being a key character currently in the meta, it looks like Echo is such a strong pick, but it looks like we're going to see the Pharah come out instead of an Echo, which I'm not surprised. Kitten was doing really well with this Pharah, having ults up fairly quickly. So it really just comes down to what these teams are going to decide to do. Both teams running to Rein Zard. Actually, it looks like the Aftermath is going to prefer to use the double shield Rein Sigma, and Sigma actually going to take the first pick of this fight, taking out Doomfist. And now that's going to tell Icers it's time we back up. We might have to rethink things a little bit. We need to play a little bit carefully. Reinhardt, though, going to take a pick onto Faded Eclipse, and looks like it's going to be their cue to start moving forward. They are going to start moving under this bridge and move to the right, moving around that point and keeping these tank lines under control. Kitten, though, going to get a pick onto Robert, and now it looks like Icers going to be taking the move, forward. They're going to take out both tanks as well as the main healer, taking out that Moira, and Mercy will fall shortly thereafter. And now, even though Doomfist may have fallen off the edge, Faded has also chosen to do the KYS to reset with his team, and that point will quickly swap over to Icers. 5 minutes on this time bank. Faded, though, does have a Deadeye up, and Kitten will have a barrage for this next fight. Aftermath having basically every ult except for a grab, deciding to switch off the Sigma for the second point. So, and that's the reason why that push really works. Double shield lacks in one thing: when you fight past those shields. If you start getting into their face, Sigma has a harder time. Deadeye and Rocket Barrage, though, going to come out. Pharaoh will fall to the Rockets, and the Deadeye doesn't catch anybody, but it does put Aftermath in a position to keep this fight going. Farah getting resurrected, and now Mercy using his Valkyrie just to keep people alive, keep her in the air. Icers looking for an opportunity to push in here, trying to find their positioning. Farah watching these major routes. They have that burst damage, so it's going to be very hard for either of these teams to really start pushing in. Earthshatter comes up from both sides, but Icers gets the more beneficial one, and now Attack Visor coming in from the side of Icers looking for picks. He will be able to catch the Farah, and now is going to catch the Moira as well. And Icers going to start moving that payload forward. Three minutes left. Just about 4 minutes left for Icers to keep this payload moving. And they do have quite a bit of time. Aftermath going to switch over to the Widowmaker, trying to get some of these picks out. Possibly trying to get some of these backliners. Meteor Strike coming in from the Doomfist of Icers. It looks like it was more used as an attack to get into the backline, and Icers just going to keep this payload moving, uncontested with a team kill, it looks like, just about. And only a Meteor Strike was used in that, so Icers has decent ult charge coming in. Kitten in a bad position, trying to stay alive, was able to get back to the team. Faded has the Deadeye up and available. Doomfist into that backline, but is going to be taken out by the Brig. A good swap from Aftermath to counteract that backline Doomfist. The Brig will fall, and now the Deadeye's coming in. Huge Deadeye catching 4 people out in the open, and this is Aftermath's chance. They're going to keep that fight moving forward and push them back towards their spawn. And the Widowmaker will get a pick, but will be picked out. That is a trade-off from these teams, but Icers has the advantage with that payload where it is and where Aftermath set up. The spawn advantage is in favor of Icers right now. The Skimper Sight comes in. Aftermath knows exactly where Icers is trying to push from. Attack Visor coming out yet again, looking for picks, but is going to be Earth Shatter. But the Shatter comes out from Icers instead. The Graviton Surge going to catch 4 people, but it doesn't matter. Icers has the position. They had the picks, and they're going to lead a team kill to get that payload moving past that choke. Coming dangerously into last fight territory. For Aftermath, they need to win this fight and cause the stabilize. And the rally comes in, but so does the beat drop. Sound Barrier keeping people alive. Graviton Surge going to catch 2 people, it looks like. But nobody's going to fall. Instead, Cade on this Moira is going to fall to the Tracer. Tracer assaulting the soldier, looking for picks, getting as many as they can with the fight coming out onto this point. May going to be walled off and cut off from her team. And Aftermath will be able to retake possession of this payload. And now it starts moving backwards. The longer that Icers stay off that payload, the further back that's going to move. Aftermath going to take that recontest. Blizzard going to come in, but 2 picks go inside of Aftermath. 3 people are frozen though, with all 3 of them going to fall. Deadeye comes in, will catch Glider, but it's not going to matter. Faded will fall shortly thereafter. Tracer being left there just to contest on her own. She will be able to take out the Reinhardt, is now looking for more picks, trying to build up her kills. But it doesn't matter. Robert going to be able to take out this Tracer, and now the recontest coming in from Aftermath. Tracer contesting just long enough, and Icers going to be forced to pull out. They know they can't win this fight against 5 people. Golas is going to come in, and that's going to be a good pick for Icers, as now they're going to start rushing in. Shatter comes out, but another attack visor coming in from the side of Icers, but he will be taken out due to stun. Graviton Surge comes out, but B also drops for the side of Icers, and Icers going to have strong potential. This payload going to move and will be captured at that 3rd checkpoint. 50 seconds left on their time bank. And what that means now, the Icers, they're guaranteed a minute, but it's a minute. You're gonna have to make a strong push, so they need to hold this as long as possible and try to force Icer or Aftermath to, if they're gonna cap that 3rd checkpoint, they need to force them to do it with as little time as possible, trying to get them under that minute so they have an opportunity to push with more time on the time bank, if not each with 1 minute. And then if they are forced into round 3 and round 4, all they have to do is hold 1 and then get a tick. Standard composition once again coming out from Icers. They seem to be liking this Ryan Zarya composition with the Mei. Trying to decide though if they want to do the McCree or the Junkrat. Looks like they've settled on the Cowboy himself. Aftermath going to be running with this Ryan Zarya McCree as well. The double hit scan, possibly thinking that they might be running a Pharah, which wouldn't necessarily be out of the realm of possibility. Pharah is a character you see quite often. Icers already have a good positioning. They're going to allow Aftermath, though, to push through that choke, and immediately rotating back onto that point. They know what Aftermath's trying to do. Wall comes in, but not going to catch anybody. And now it looks like the brawl is just going to be going into this very slow. Aftermath trying to pick and choose when they want to really push in, looking for those early pucks. Now that the Widowmaker has gotten the pick onto the McCree, Aftermath's going to start moving in. But now that Resurrect came in, they're not going to do so. Earthshatter comes in. It's going to be able to catch... It doesn't look like it caught anybody, but Icer's going to actually come away with that fight. Aftermath being pretty indecisive, it looks like. Not knowing when they want to push in. I think what Aftermath is really worried about is they're trying to bait out this Resurrect. Oh, I'm sorry. They're trying to bait out this Resurrect. And in order to do that, you've got to get that early pick. It doesn't matter on who, but you need to try and bait that Resurrect out. So Aftermath playing a little bit more of a slower push. The Valkyrie going to come out with the Resurrect. Earthshatter coming in, not going to catch anybody, but will help kill that Mercy. And now Aftermath has a strong hold onto this point, starting to capture it. It looks like the slow approach worked at this time with that early pick. They were able to force out that Resurrection and pull that Mercy out of position, and that's what cued Aftermath to really start pushing in. They started pushing on that tank, and now they were able to capture that point. Widowmaker has these infra sights. She knows exactly where people are coming from and when they're moving back from spawn. Ultimate actually going to be able to take out Ken. That gets rid of the infra sight. And now Icers has huge ult advantage. They have 4 ults coming online, a Blizzard, a Grab, Deadeye, and Coalescence. So you've got the sustain of the Coalescence, you've got the CC potential of the Blizzard, as well as the Graviton, and the offensive potential from the Deadeye. Deadeye going to come out from the side of Aftermath, though, going to catch both supports, and those are going to be big picks for Aftermath, with 4 picks falling out in total. And now Aftermath going to keep this payload moving forward, getting closer to that bridge. Icers on the Lucio, possibly looking to try and get a few groups coming out of this. Deadeye going to come in from the side of the Icers. Icers actually going to be able to get 2 people with that Deadeye, and now they're going to be able to recontest this point and maintain it. What am I saying? Stabilize. That's it. That's what I'm thinking of. It can be so quiet when you're casting alone. Icers, though, already has strongholds on these maps. Both these teams being so strong in their own right. It's like these fights just go back and forth and back and forth. Like, it really comes down to ult usage. Which team is using their ultimates better? Glider switching over to the Tracer to try and get some of this backline stall come in. And Robert will be able to take out Kitten. Shatter comes in, and a huge Shatter at that, catching 4 people. The other opposing Shatter comes in from Icers, but it looks like these are going to go in favor of Aftermath. Deadeye comes in, going to deal some damage, but not get the picks. Easy going to fall, but it looks like the sustain is going to be there for Icers, and I think Icers are actually going to walk away with this team fight in their favor. Widowmaker has the infrasight up, but it looks like the sights was wasted. She knows where they are, but not able to get any of these picks out, as she's the only one there. Wall comes out from Icers, but May will be picked off by Kitten. And that's going to be a strong pick. Icers starting to pull out. And Aftermath going to start pushing a Glider, though, will be able to take out Easy. And Pulse Bomb online. Pulse Bomb's going to come out, not going to catch anybody. And it looks like Aftermath being a little weary about trying to push in. 60 seconds left. Icers still in a strong position to walk away with Eichenwald. Grab comes out from the side of Icers. Christ, I'm just so tired. Aftermath, though, huge picks coming in, and that looks like a team kill, or nearly there. And Aftermath able to use that Shatter, use that Grab, and they got huge potential out of that, and finally able to push that payload to that second checkpoint, but already less time than what Icers pushed with. Moira falling from Icers, though, and already both supports down. Aftermath just going to keep this snowball going, moving that payload forward as fast as possible. Aftermath needs to capture this payload with as much time as possible. With just about a minute left, it's going to be very close. Deadeye calling out from the side of Aftermath, not going to catch anybody this time. Sound barrier comes out from the side of Aftermath as well, with the Blizzard coming in, but the picks are falling into Aftermath's favor. Coalescence causing the sustain. And now Aftermath just being able to push this payload, but they do have just a few seconds less than what Icers has. Contest coming in. Here comes the huge contest coming out from Icers again. but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen as well as it did on Nepal. Aftermath just causing these staggers to fall very, very fast, and this payload just inches away from capturing that third checkpoint. Finally, it will capture it. Both teams have a minute left. Icers, though, with the benefit, they have just under a minute 30. And that means Aftermath will be attacking first. I think that's how it goes. I think the team with the less time, if I remember correctly, pushes first. But once again, overtime, and the score is tied up 3-3. Both teams 1 minute left. Like, there couldn't be a better matchup for the first game of the season. It looks like what Icers is going to do is they're going to be running with the Soldier instead. Alright, no. Looks like they do want to stick with the Tracer. Tracer has been proving to be a strong pick for them. Glider, just always on that in their backline. It looks like it's just very difficult for any of these teams to just make strong ground over the other. Each fight is so decisive because just massive picks come out from both sides that it's like Aftermath will win this fight, then Icers will win that fight, then Aftermath will win that fight, and so on and so on. But that's going to be a huge thing in these overtime games now. Aftermath just has a minute to push this, so they need to move as fast as they can. There's no room for indecisiveness, there's no room for error. Tracer already into their backline, assaulting and getting some nice ult charge. Icers are really starting these strongholds right now, not wanting to give up much ground. They want to keep this point in their favor and keep them from only needing to capture one tick. But the picks are going to fall in favor of Icers, and that's exactly what they need. 15 seconds left. We are in dangerous one-fight territory. They're in the stagger territory, where Aftermath needs to push onto this point now. They need to get somebody on there to contest it. Farah not able to get there. She drops just too slow, and Icers able to full hold that. Now, all they have to do is get one tick, but the draw is still a potential in this.
Initiating match.
So, it's really going to be it's just so hard to decide which team is going to win this. Aftermath does have potential to draw this, but Icers has an extra 26 seconds, just about 30 seconds more than what Aftermath did on their push, and that could make the big difference whether they capture this first tick or not. Icers going to be running, it looks like, the Symmetra strategy. Going to try and get as much ground in that point and get set up on that point as soon as possible and as quickly as possible. Aftermath, though, running with this Torbjorn.
Hello. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It really could go either way. Torbjorn looking for some early ult charge. Icers looking, trying to figure out what Aftermath is running. They're going to switch off the Symmetra, instead go with the Reaper. And Icers already being held to that 1 minute. Trying to decide how they want to push this. They're going to start moving around under the bridge and start the brawl onto the point. But Icers going to be the first ones to fall in this fight. Ultimate going to take a pick onto the break, but Aftermath is up by 3. And now Aftermath going to be able to keep this hold. But Icers does have another fight in them. They have 30 seconds left.
30 seconds remaining.
There it is. And a strong pick from Icers. This is their chance to push. They need to move forward now. Junkrat going to flop in these nades, dealing as much damage as you can, trying to farm up this Riptire. Coalescence coming out from both sides. Earthshatter coming in. Aftermath going to be able to take 2 picks into this fight, with Icers taking 1. Reinhardt going to fall off the map, but taking the Moira with him. And it looks like this is Aftermath's fight to win. And it looks like the full hold gonna come out from Aftermath as well, and a draw comes out on Eichenwald.
Play of the game.
Just, these teams are so evenly matched. It is so hard to tell who is going to win. And that's going to be a big thing for map score, because draws don't count as a plus or a minus for either team. So you're sitting here, and you're thinking, well, now we're definitely not seeing a map 5. Because even if one team is able to take those pushes, what's going to happen is it doesn't matter. One team's still going to walk away with 2 maps in their favor. Quickly swapping sides. Sorry for the dead air. I'm just swapping sides and getting things set up for this next map, which is Temple of Anubis, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was Temple and then Root. Yep, Temple of Anubis and then Route 66. So maybe we'll see some subs come in, maybe we'll see some roles swapping up, but with how these teams are playing, I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen. Now we are going to see a sub come out. We're going to see Serpent come in for Foxy. One of the newer pickup from Icers. Oops, I did not do that right. I accidentally put Icers on both teams. And now just ready for the ready ups from both teams. Now, swapping in Serpent. And we are going to actually see Faded coming out with Boss going in. And we have the ready from both teams. So let's get into our third map, the Temple of Anubis.
Now entering the temple.
This game is just incredible so far, though. I'm in awe.
Initiating match.
Both these teams just being very strong. Aftermath showing us much stronger performance than we saw in preseason, and it overjoys me. And Icers doing very good job. Like, these teams, I can't stop saying it. These teams are just so evenly matched that these games are just so close you can't tell who's going to come out on top. Icers going to be running with Torbjorn, Junkrat composition. A different composition than what we normally see coming out of this. Turret can be a big thing. I mean, I've seen some different things being run. Normally you see like the Bastion with the double shield, and you see like the Baptiste come in. Temple of Anubis is one of those things that you see a lot of the bunker brawl compositions, which is what we're going to actually see coming out from Aftermath. Is going to be running this more brawly style composition. They have the Sombra to get the hacks out. The Widowmaker for those long-ranged backline picks. Trapped already from Junkrat on that Reinhardt, and already 80% charge on this Zarya. And that's going to be a big pick, taking out that high charge Zarya. And now Icers in a good stance to keep this hold in their favor. Turret being taken down by Aftermath. And both teams did make some swaps. So, different things are going to happen in this match. It might not be as easily matched up as it was. Hack coming out onto that Sigma. That gets rid of that Sigma shield. And Aftermath's going to take this high ground rotation. Going right back onto point. Sombra in this backline. And I have to give it to Aftermath. They're doing a really good job at keeping that turret contested. Riptire, though, coming in, going to catch 3 picks! Both tanks and a support, and those are going to be massive picks from Icers, and Aftermath being forced to fully pull out. Aftermath might be changing up their composition now. They're changing things up a little bit, trying something different, looking for their opportunities. And now, Junkrat going to be able to take a pick out on this, and Aftermath coming out of this in favor of them. But they need to push onto this point. They need to start the cap. They don't have a tick yet. Widowmaker going to be able to take a pick on to the Moira.
I'm on fire.
And even if Icers decide to try and do a recontest, Aftermath already has that in for sight, so they're gonna have the ability to know where they were coming from. Earth Shadow ready to come out from the side of Aftermath. But the big thing that's going to be in this fight is we see Torbjorn with a Molten Core, a huge point lockout. Coalesce is going to come out from the side of Aftermath. Ice is going to be popping their Gravitic Flux, pushing everybody in the air, and Torbjorn are going to take a pick onto the Reinhardt. Riptire. I thought I heard the Riptire come out, but I guess it didn't. An amplification matrix from the side of Aftermath. They're trying to keep this fight in their favor. Riptire coming out from the side of Icers. It's going to be able to catch the Baptiste. And at this point, going to continue into the favor of Aftermath, it looks like. They're going to keep this fight going. Moira going to fall, and so will Reinhardt. And now it looks like it's just the Sigma trying to contest. But it's no point. You don't want to keep the Sigma fighting on this point. Not with how few people you have there. Aftermath, Riptire coming online. They're gonna have the Gravitic Flux swapping over to the McCree, as well as Coalescence can come on fairly quickly. And it looks like Aftermath going to be taking the left side route, or right side route, rather, to try and push into this. Normally you see teams trying to go for tunnel. Gravitic Flux coming in from the side of Aftermath, going to pull somebody into the air. Riptire comes in, will catch Lucio, but Icers has the advantage. Riptire going to catch 2 picks with that, and Icers full hold here once again. Aftermath still unable to catch a tick. 2 minutes left for them to push this. McCree going to get an early pick onto this fight, and now Icers is in a downside advantage here. Rather, disadvantage. I can't talk when I'm alone. Jesus! Gravitic Flux coming in is going to be able to catch the Reinhardt, but it doesn't lead to his death. However, it did lead to his death, dealing just enough damage for him to fall. Ice is starting to be able to start to stabilize once again, but these picks just going back and forth. And Ice is going to maintain the stabilize, but they did give up 2 ticks. Looks like just about 2.5 ticks.
Are you so angry? I am not your savior.
In Aftermath, having just about a minute left to push, they don't have they just have to get 1 more tick in order to get the capture on this, but they want to try and do it with as much time as possible.
60 seconds.
Meteor Strike going to come in from the side of Icers, not going to catch anybody, but instead he will be picked off, and now Aftermath starting to really push in. They have the Earth Shatter ready to come out, looking to try and catch somebody off to the side, but doesn't get anyone. Riptire coming out from the side of Aftermath, not going to catch anybody out in the open. And now the Riptire is also going to come out from the side of Icers, but Aftermath coming in with picks into their favor. Aftermath really trying to keep this fight going, but they are losing members left and right. Icers keeping this hold in their favor. Tick still not captured, and Icers will be able to hold that point.
Score 0-1. Switching sides.
Icers doing a really good job on these holds, just keeping those contests going. So Icers could tie up this series. It's really just an uphill fight between both these teams. If Icers ties up the series, and then, well, it is possible we still see a map 5 actually, because if Icers takes this map, no wait,
Attackers incoming.
no, it is possible to tie an escort map. It's unlikely, but it is possible. So, if this map somehow ends up being tied, and the escort map is won by Icers, then we will be going to Lijiang Tower for the tiebreaker.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective.
So it really comes down to how this map is going to turn out. Now, if Icers is able to take this map as well as Route 66, then Icers could actually walk away with the reverse sweep. Ultimate going to be able to take an early pick out onto that Moira. And it looks like Icers has the advantage. They already have 2 picks, and they're going to start moving in. Reaper looking for these picks, trying to get this high charge Zarya. He will be hacked, but immediately healed. And Icers is getting a strong presence onto this point already. Graviton Surge coming in, but it doesn't look like it caught too much potential. So 3 picks will go in the favor of Aftermath, and now Aftermath has this potential once again. Earthshatter coming in, which will take out the Moira, and still that tick hasn't been captured. It was Icer's point to win, and Aftermath just brought it back. That Graviton Surge, I was gonna say, didn't get utilized well, but it was actually corrected. It got people in it that made a huge presence, and was able to help make those massive kills. EMP coming out. And it's gonna catch 5 people, and now Junkrat will be taken down, and Aftermath has this point in their favor. Death Blossom's actually gonna be stunned out, and it was a great move from that Brig. Icers in a bad position where they are. Icers wanting to take a high ground positioning, it looks like. Aftermath trying to figure out which way they want to push. Sleepy going to be able to take down Robert, though. Earthshatter comes in with the Riptire, going to catch 3 people from Aftermath, and this Reinhardt not going to survive very long after. And Icer's going to start getting their presence onto this point known once again. Sombra still alive, but she's not going to be able to touch a point. She's just going to get destroyed by the Moira and the Soldier. And already, Icers pushing up a little bit. Soldier already up here looking to try to get some ult charge. Get that tac visor online. Rally gonna come out as well as Bob and Grav from both sides, it looks like. But it's gonna be Boss that walks away with a pick into this fight. Speed drops for Icers to keep this fight going, but Bob is just gonna keep that fight going. And Aftermath going to be able to kill and make that team wipe that they needed. But the ultimates used, they used the Shatter, the Rally, the Coalescence, the Grab, the EMP, the Bob, they used everything, and Icers, they're gonna have Riptire coming online, as well as the Coalescence and an Earth Shatter, so Icers, strong potential to capture this point, and a pick onto Boss here is going to be huge. Icers is gonna be moving around the tunnel once again. Shatter comes in. It's going to catch the picks needed. Moira and Reinhardt going to fall with the Riptire coming out from the side of Icers, looking to catch a few picks. It's going to catch 2, both the Ashe and the Mercy. And Icers looks like they're going to be able to walk away with the Temple of Anubis. Nope, the contest comes out from the side of Aftermath, but Icers will be able to capture Temple of Anubis. Icers still in this game. Oh man, this is just so close. Oops. Back to lobby. There we go. But these games are just so close. Our last map, we will be going to Route 66. Personally, one of my favorite maps to play on. And it is possible we will see a map 5 still, but with how unlikely it is that this map will be drawn, we're gonna have a winner here. Let's see if there are going to be any substitutions. So we're going to see Boss come out for Faded. Changing things up a little bit. Just waiting for the readies from both teams. We have it from Icers. And it's going to be very hard for me to determine an MVP. Both teams are playing incredibly well. And it looks like Aftermath's going to have one more person being able to join in on this. They're just waiting for somebody to show into the lobby. But both these teams are doing really well. I've got to say, the tank lines from Aftermath has been exceptional, whereas Icers, I can't stop thinking about Glider, and he's constantly an assault on their backline. So, it's still going to be tough for me to determine MVPs come the end of this match. Aftermath looking to try and take things up a level. They're waiting for one person to show up, and that could be the make or break moment for them, because the team that wins this map will walk away with the match. But that also means that the map score is going to be a -1 or a +1. So it's going to be really big for the standings. Like, the better you play, the better your map score. So even though Aftermath or one of these teams may lose, they're still going to be in a pretty good position in the standings. Aftermath, though, has a very good chance of walking out of this, but the same can be said for Icers. It's so hard to tell with how these teams are playing. Because we literally saw Aftermath win the first map, then it was a draw for Eichenwald, and then for Anubis, now we see Icers walk away with the map. So it's so hard to tell what's gonna happen. Just waiting to find out who's joining in for Aftermath. Now we do have 2 more games today. We have Pepega versus, what was it? We have Pepega versus IKEA, formerly known as, Illusion, playing directly after this game at 2 o'clock, if not directly after this game ends. And then we also have ZG, formerly known as the Warriors, versus Moisty Boys later tonight at 6. So, pretty busy night, and should be a pretty exciting night too. Tell him to spectate. Scooter's gonna go on the bench, hopefully to try and get that person in. So we are going to see MJ Acme come in for Scooter. So, big thing for Aftermath, they were switching up their tank line just a little bit, which could make a difference. And we have the ready from Aftermath, so just double checking, and both teams are ready to go, so let's go into our 4th and final map. I do think it's just very unlikely we're going to see the map 5 come out of this. It is possible, but I find it very unlikely.
Initiating match.
And Route 66, it's another one of those maps you see pirate ship come out. Every now and then you tend to see stuff like Bastion, Torp, Sim on the defense, and you barely even see them anymore, quite honestly. You'll normally see like more of a brawl style offense with a double shield defense, or you might see the dive come out on this first checkpoint, maybe even second checkpoint, with brawl being prominent on third. You never really know what you're gonna see on Route 66. Looks like Icers gonna be playing it with the Ashe Soldier, the double hit scan. Pharah's definitely can be seen quite a bit on these maps, but yeah, it doesn't look like that's what Aftermath wants to do. Aftermath instead wants to run with the McCree Ashe. They're going to be running with a double hit scan of their own. More mercies on both sides, so they're going to be looking for those resurrects.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the pain.
Fairly similar comps coming out from these teams, with only Soldier McCree being a difference. Neither team really getting any decisive hold onto the other. That payload moves to that choke. And it looks like Icers going to be the first one to walk away with the pick in this fight. Make that 3 picks, and Icers just going to keep that fight moving forward in their favor. And Icers is going to keep that payload moving. Zarya going to choose to jump off the map. Aftermath looking for their opportunity to recontest, but Orion being pinned is not going to be a good way to start that fight. And Icers already being able to capture that first checkpoint. Very strong performance from Icers already. They wasted like no time going into that. And they already have possession of that first checkpoint and keeping that payload moving forward. Aftermath gonna start their setup in order to contest to this point once again. They need to stabilize and they need to get this point under control. Aftermath's gonna start pushing in, but Geek going to fall with a massive shatter, catching 3 people, and it looks like all 3 are going to fall, and Icer's just going to keep this payload moving. It looks like Aftermath might have made a miscalculation with their tank line. Widowmaker going to be able to take an early pick, though, into this fight. That's going to be a strong use for Aftermath. Attack Visor coming out from the side of Icers, looking to try and get a pick or 2. He's not going to catch anybody, though, and the Deadeye going to catch the Soldier instead. And Icers going to be pushed all the way back. Finally, Aftermath able to stabilize this. The ult usage from Icers, they only expended 2 ults, it looks like. Or actually 3 maybe. Unless that Moore used it in the last fight and just hasn't been able to charge that up. Aftermath, on the other hand, they just used Deadeye, already at 50%. They've got ults coming online. So in terms of ult advantage, I'd say it goes to Aftermath right now. Ice is gonna go around from behind. It's taking that high ground. Graviton Surge comes in and both caught and will fall. The 2 picks go in favor of Aftermath. The Resurrect comes out. That ties things up yet again, and now the Reinhardt going to fall. Bob on point, and now Icers can cap this point once again and bring it to that second checkpoint and start moving it on third. McCree able to get to the point. Will take out the Moira. That's going to be a strong pick for them for the recontest for Aftermath, but Icer's just going to keep this payload moving in their favor. Aftermath looking like they're not going to go for the recontest. Icers really starting to move forward. The Brawl starting out. Ultimate going to be the first one to fall into this engagement. And Aftermath looks like they're going to be able to start with that stabilize. Really pushing Icers back. And a nice team kill. And a good stagger onto that Moira is going to waste some time for Icers. Sonic Arrow is going to be huge use. They can keep an eyes on where Icers are trying to push from. Deadeye's coming in, not going to catch anybody. Everybody is able to escape onto the side. Bob's gonna come out, but Shatter, as well as a Beat, going to come in, and Aftermath gonna keep this defense going into their favor. 3 picks and make that 4. And Aftermath gonna keep this contest going in their favor. The stagger onto the Ashe is once again gonna waste some time for Icers. They don't want to push in. It looks like Aftermath just being a strong presence here. Picks were going back and forth, but now MJ Acme going to be a 3-pick taker in that. 73% charge as well. High charge Zarya, such a dangerous thing. And a Graviton Search comes in, gonna catch everybody, and the wall comes out. Dragons going to catch 2 with a Tactical Visor coming in from the back line. He will be taken out, and that's 2 ultimates taken offline for Icers. McCree already with a Deadeye back up. Icers. Oh, why am I so tired? Icers, 1 minute left to push this point. And they need to make something work here. Earth Shatter comes in, going to catch the Moira, but Counter Shatter comes out. Icers starting to make their move, getting some of these picks out. Reinhardt will fall, not before taking out a Junkrat though. And finally, this payload moves past that choke. It comes into these last fights. 30 seconds left for Icers to push this point. Aftermath, Riley starting to do this recontest now. Junkrat off to that side. Blizzard going to come in. Reinhardt falling in the middle of that Blizzard. And now that payload quickly getting closer to that 3rd and last checkpoint. Sound barrier falls in favor of both teams. The trap's going to come out from the Junkrat of Icers. Dragons going straight on the point, trying to contest this. Aftermath getting a pick as well as the Dragons. Finally, Lucio is going to fall. That takes out a major point of contention for Icers, and it looks like overtime going to start ticking down, and Aftermath will be able to hold that, but just barely. Aftermath needs to push it basically to that 3rd checkpoint if they want to walk away with the victory here. Both teams, once again, just playing really well. Aftermath had a little bit of a shaky start. Hopefully, they don't have that on this push for them. Because any few mistakes that they make could mean the difference between them winning this match and them losing. Going to be running with the Widow McCree composition again, it looks like. Or as Icers, they want to run with this Ashe May. They're going to keep for May. which has been proving to be very useful for them.
I think I might be a little overdressed for this place. Hiya! Fire in the hole!
Looks like a standard tank composition from, as well as a hero composition from Aftermath. Whereas Icers, they're going to be running with the Mercy Moira yet again. It's not a bad composition. And the first pick of the fight will go to Faded Eclipse on this McCree, looking to try and get the stun onto the Reinhardt, but it looks like Aftermath going to take that shaky start, and they're going to say, nah, we were just getting used to this. We're going to start pushing in now. Mei looking for that recontest. Zarya is left alone and she will be frozen. Ryan coming back to aid. And it looks like Icers looking for the chance to start the recontest, trying to decide their perfect moment, waiting for people to get back. And a strong pick that takes out the Ryan early on in this fight. And Aftermath looks like they're going to have the upper hand. 2 picks, but make that a draw in the picks now. Aftermath once again able to take one. And the payload slowly starts to inch its way forward. The contest keeps happening though. Tracer going to be pinned, a huge pin, as well as a strong fire strike coming out from Great. And now it looks like Aftermath able to move this payload. Aftermath looking very strong going into the second checkpoint now. They've got 3 ults coming online, as well as a Lucio barrier, which can come online fairly quickly. Faded, looking for a flank Deadeye. And he will get it. He's going to be able to catch the Lucio. And that's going to also help with taking out Gilded. And now, the wall's going to come in from Icers, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter. Aftermath just keeping this strongly in their favor. Zarya ended up KYSing. And Aftermath has this point in their possession. They're going to keep this payload moving. The more time they have, the better. But honestly, it doesn't matter. As long as you can capture that last checkpoint. The recontest starting to come in. Blizzard gonna come out, but so will the grab. Both grabs coming in, but Icers looking like that recontest is gonna be successful using 2 ultimates. And the stabilize does come in very, very fast for Icers. Icers starting to keep this contest going. Sound barrier going to come in from the side of Icers. Coalescence also going to come out, but that one's Aftermath. And picks going back and forth, 2 picks from each side. Icers still having possession of this payload right now, but Aftermath starting to move themselves onto it. Mei going to be able to freeze the Zarya. Coalescence comes in, trying to get the kill, but is going to be unsuccessful. Aftermath looking having a harder time now. Icers having a strong position on this. The Zarya falling. That's going to be a good pick for Aftermath to start pushing in. Earthshatter comes in, not going to catch anybody, and here comes the Tactical Visor from Aftermath this time. Deadeye going to come out. It's going to catch the ulting soldier, but it doesn't look like it mattered. Aftermath has possession of that point, and will be able to capture that second checkpoint. Icers needs to hold, as this green box is all it takes for left for Aftermath to capture and win this match. Aftermath going to take the first pick of the fight, taking out that Junkrat, a strong pick for them. They lost that first damage, and now these picks really going into their favor. But it's still a long way to push this payload. There's still a fight in this for Icers. They need to get people onto this payload, and they need to charge up these ultimates. Graviton Surge going to be a big thing, but with 2 minutes on the time back, it's an uphill battle for Icers. Graviton Surge comes in, is going to catch a lot of people, but Beat drops just in time to save somebody. But the Sound Barrier comes up for the side of Icers as well, and the Coalescence will take out the Reinhardt, and now Aftermath being forced to pull out. Two minutes left. Icers going to have to play these ultimates very smartly. They've got a Riptire coming online, they've got a Blizzard coming online. But when it comes to the ult advantage, I've got to say it has to be an Aftermath. They have Earth Shatter almost going to be online. Possibly just trying to charge up for the grab, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Icers going to walk away with 2 picks, and now they've got the Riptire, they've got the Earth Shatter, and they got the Blizzard. Icers in a very strong position to win this match so far. Aftermath takes a nice early pick onto the Lucio. Deadeye is going to come out from the side of Aftermath, going to be able to catch the Mei. That gets rid of the Blizzard potential. And Aftermath looks very strong here. Riptire going to try and come in, going to try and get somebody, but it doesn't look like it's able to. Icers starting that recontest, but it's pulling people on the payload. That's the biggest thing. Blizzard going to come out right on top of that payload. Grab coming in, but Icers have the picks. Dragons going to be able to take out the Tracer, Hammond, and the Reinhardt. 3 picks with the Dragons. That's going to be a huge potential for Aftermath. They've got this point in their favor. They just have to push it. Team kill will seal this, and Aftermath walks away with the match. Huge from both these teams. Oh my gosh. Icers had the opportunity to win that, but the pick on that Mei really did it in for them.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh, that was an insane match. Well, I've got one thing to do before I sign off, and that is determine the MVPs. Now, I think I know who I want to give it to, and I want to give it to Greg Beer and Glider. Both of them playing incredibly well. I think those were the big key players for both these teams. So, congratulations to those two. Now, I know I'm wrapping this up pretty quickly, but there is another game that is going to happen in about 5 minutes. So, check out for that one. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys again in the next one.